Hello everyone, this is Mateo with arcade.dev, and today I will show you how to connect your GitHub app into your dashboard. You want to do this when you have a multi-user application and, for example, you don't want people to connect to your app and then having to see Arcade's own provided GitHub application. That is Arcade branded. Maybe you want your users to see your own branding and you want to generally just manage your own application. In my specific project, I already added Google and Slack as my own connected apps. These are going to show my personal branding, my personal Slack application, and so on and so forth. And by the end of the video, I will have the ability to show my own personal GitHub app also in my agent. The way you do that is we start adding an OAuth provider here on the right hand side. Then on the included providers, we have GitHub, so I click it, and then I only need to provide an ID, a client ID, and a client secret. And then this redirect URI is the one that we use to configure our GitHub app so that it talks to Arcade, and Arcade knows where to redirect people when they complete the OAuth flow. So in here, I will say Mateo, laptop, GitHub. Then I go to GitHub, I click on my profile picture, and I go to settings. Here on the left hand side, I scroll all the way down and I click on developer settings. Here you will see that I have GitHub apps, OAuth apps, and personal access tokens. We want to make sure that we selected GitHub apps, and I will explain why in a minute. I have created already a batch of them, but let me show you how to create a new one. So I click New GitHub App. I will give it a name, and this is going to be Mateo's GitHub App. This is to connect agents to GitHub. Homepage URL, I will just use my personal website. Here is where you would put something like the main page of your application, of your branding page, things like this. So I will use my personal one, https://torresmateo.com. Then here I will say what is the callback URL, and this is the one that comes here. Is the one provided by Arcade. I copy it, I go back to GitHub, and I paste it here. It's important to leave the expired user authorization tokens and the request user authorization during installation both checked. The first one will provide a refresh token that prevents your user from having to reauthorize the app every time the token expires. And the second one allows the app to act on behalf of your users, the way Arcade tools are intended to be used. Here I will uncheck webhooks just because my app doesn't need it, but feel free to use it if your tools will interact with a webhook. Now, here is the reason why we choose a GitHub app as opposed to an OAuth app. These are the granular scopes that GitHub apps allow you to choose and that Arcade can use to implement things like the principle of least privilege. For example, in my app, I want actions to be read and write. Also, deployments to be read and write, and maybe issues to be read only. Then for organization permissions, I want campaigns, read and write, events, read only, dependable secrets, read and write. And for account permissions, I want email addresses to be read and write, for example. Depending on the tools that you use, you may want to choose differently. If you want to know all of the scopes and all of that, for the specific tools that Arcade provide, you can go to Docs, Arcade, and then MCP servers. And then here you go to GitHub, and you will find that information on the tools. Finally, I will choose any account to the question, where can this GitHub app be installed, so that anybody on GitHub can use this application. So I create it, then I copy the client ID, I go back here, I paste it, I go here, and I click on generate a new client secret. This will create a new secret, and I will revoke this app immediately after recording, so this is not exposed to the internet. This is something that you should not share to anybody. So I copy it here, I go to my OAuth provider on the dashboard, I paste it, and I create it. And that's it. Now I have a GitHub app connected to my dashboard. It's bound to this project, and then when my agent needs to invoke a GitHub tool on behalf of my users, then Arcade will correctly redirect people to my GitHub application that I just created. Until the next time, guys, happy building.